Stranger Things has wrapped up its 4th installment, and wow, what an ending! The climax saw the heroes of Hawkins battle across dimensions to save both the small town and the world. I'm Chris Goodmakers, and I'm here to talk about this epic final confrontation. Spoilers ahead for Stranger Things 4. It was hard to top Kate Bush helping Max run up that hill in part 1, but Eddie brought the fuel and the fire to the final battle. Using the Metallica hit to distract the Demibats, Eddie ends up performing the most metal concert of all time. While the song is an absolute classic now, in March of 1986, it was as fresh as possible. Kinda like me. The song was first released on March 3rd, 1986. The events of Season 4 take place around March 22nd, 1986. This means that Eddie managed to learn the entire song by ear in under 2 weeks. He's definitely been listening to it on repeat while he rolls some of that dank 80s weed. Stranger Things is like the Tarantino of Netflix shows. Every episode is packed with references to movies and shows long past. The final battles of Part 4 are certainly no different. One of the biggest franchises to end up with multiple references is the Alien series. We're focusing on the main battle, but there are a few quick ones earlier with a soldier named Hicks.
Hicks, take the upper level.
Yes, sir.
And, Paul Reiser. However, it's the Gulag-based battle with the Demidogs that has the biggest references. Hopper and co. find themselves breaking back into the Russian prison to help the others back in Hawkins. They find it crawling with various demi-beasts. By the way, I don't think I've ever said demi more in a video. At least not until Screen Rant lets me do 25 things you missed in Ghost. Number 6 will shock you, because you've probably never seen Ghost. Anyway, Hopper comes up with a plan to lure the beasts into a large holding pit, and then douse them with fire. Unfortunately for Hopper, it involves him running down several hallways being chased by a ravenous monster. This is the exact same plan another group of prisoners came up with in Alien 3. Also set in a rundown prison, the movie sees the surviving inmates attempt to lure the dog-born alien into the well of a forge and douse it with liquid hot steel. Both plans go about as well and even involve a 4-legged version of the series' classic monster. The Alien references don't stop because we also got another nod to the chest-bursting series. The Russian prison is also serving as a place of experimentation and unethical science. They are dissecting the various denizens of the Upside Down and performing some dark things. The fruits of this labor is a room full of monsters and tubes. The scene of Hopper and co. finding them echoes the film Alien Resurrection. The 4th entry in the franchise, it also starred Winona Ryder as a milk-filled android. The scene in question is when Ripley's clone finds the previous failed versions of herself in similar large yellow tubes. A flamethrower also comes in handy in that situation. Both scenes also echo Aliens when the Colonial Marines find tubes filled with spidery facehuggers. Aliens was released in July 1986, only a few months after the events of Stranger Things 4. At least Lucas has that to look forward to. Sorry, buddy. While we're on this battle, let's talk about some more movie references, because it's all I'm filled with apparently. It looks like Hopper has solved the riddle of steel, and it's slicing Demogorgons up like so much lunch meat. After the dogs have been burned and the bullets exhausted, Hopper reaches down and pulls a sword from practically nowhere. Okay, so it was left here by the prisoners who were previously forced to fight the flower-faced monster, but did they get it from a fantasy convention? Hopper's new sword was actually once wielded by the legendary Sumerian, Conan the Barbarian, when the last sword his father crafted fell into the hands of the sass-eyed James Earl Jones. The Barbarian found himself another one in the Atlantean sword. Taken from a dead king, he uses it to crush his enemies and hear the lamentations of their women. This was not just a reference, but the actual sword from the 1984 film. Harbor said the prop department was able to get a hold of it and that it was, quote, heavy as hell. Maybe the Atlantean sword is like the sword of Gryffindor, only this one only appears to the most badass of individuals. Also, how much hotter can this man get to Joyce now that she's seen him use a bastard sword to decapitate a demon? Another movie reference, this time to another James Cameron action classic. At the very climax of the group's battle with Vecna, he's been subjected to a lot. Henry has now been slammed through walls, choked, and set on fire multiple times. What's a few more shotgun blasts gonna hurt? Well, a lot actually. Nancy uses her sawed-off to blast Vecna back over and over. Each round pushes the monster further and further towards a precipice, until one last big one finally sends him flying out the window. Nancy is paying homage to another ass-kicking heroine in the form of Sarah Connor. Terminator 2 has the same moment where Sarah uses a rather large 12 gauge to continuously knock the liquid metal T-1000 back towards a molten pit of lava. It takes Arnold's T-800 and a grenade launcher to finish the future robot off, but I guess Vecna's not as durable as a man made entirely of silver goop. The shotgun itself is also a Terminator reference. Nancy sawed the barrel off the gun, a modification she explains is highly illegal.
Is this legal? Actually, I think it's a felony.
In the first Terminator, future soldier Kyle Reese is sent back to protect Sarah Connor. The first weapon he gets his hands on is a similar pump-action rifle, and he also immediately removes the barrel. Nancy, picking up tricks from the best of them. What about when Nancy does finally manage to send the tentacled weirdo out the window? He lands in the front yard of the 3-story house with so much broken glass and wood. However, all is not over because when the gang goes looking for his body, they find only the aforementioned glass and wood. Vecna's pulling another classic move and imitating notorious movie slasher Michael Myers. The Shape also took a tumble out of a window when the ever-stable Dr. Loomis shot him multiple times. However, he also vanished the second someone went to check up on the fresh corpse lying on the lawn. I would make a joke about how that will affect the property value, but there could be several open graves and that house would still sell for 7 figures today. Because right now, the scariest monster is an unregulated housing market. Max is acting as bait for the plan to dispatch Vecna. Actually, a lot of people are acting as bait, but Max is the most important piece. Vecna is set on poking her eyes out, and the best way she has to protect herself is by hiding in one of her happiest memories. It's like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind if Jim Carrey was also being stalked by a giant scrotum monster. One of these memories is the school dance from an earlier season. Unfortunately for her, this refuge doesn't last. The first sign of Vecna's coming is what happens to the balloons around Max. They pop one by one with a bloody explosion. Vecna is pulling this trick out of Pennywise's bag. The evil clown used this to great effect at the local library. Of course, Stranger Things owes a lot to Stephen King. The Talisman is even directly referenced at the end of the season, which features a story about twin selves and alternate worlds. The Duffers are adapting this story next for Netflix, but for right now, they'll just have to settle for copying King. Moving on from film references, because it's time to look at some past moments that are paid off during the various final confrontations. When Hopper is enacting the plan to trap the monster from the Upside Down, he runs into some trouble. Much like his counterparts in Alien 3, he ends up overtaken by his pursuer. The demidog pins him to the ground and is about to bite his face off when Joyce dispatches it with some high voltage. It's some cathartic payback for the time the same thing happened to Bob. Last time, Joyce couldn't save her boyfriend, but this time she isn't letting anything stand in her way. This isn't the only thing paid off in the final confrontation. Let's talk about the psychopathic rage machine named Jason that's stalking a group of young kids. Jason Carver is the local basketball star who has gone off the deep end by the time he's pummeling a high school freshman in a dilapidated attic. Lucas gets the better of him and beats him into submission, which is way better than the last time a black guy fist fought another Jason. Jason Carver meets his actual demise, however, when the seal is finally broken. A large crack appears in the world around them, and as it runs through Jason's middle, it melts the jock in half like a Snickers under a laser beam. Yeah, I know that's a super specific reference, but now you know why I got kicked out of the MIT campus tour. I wasn't applying or anything, I just wanted to see that laser. Jason actually foreshadowed this with an earlier line this season.
First hangover feels like you're gonna split in two.
I guess you could say Jason was feeling a little hungover when the rift hit his body. He did just take a few shots. Stranger Things 4 is over, and we've all had some time to process our emotions. The final confrontation was full of suspense and catharsis. This series has felt like it's another one of those brilliant 80s films that captured our youth. These characters have had a long journey over the 4 seasons, and with only one more coming, they have a lot left to deal with. Eleven and the gang will return for season 5 and the series' epic conclusion. But until then, we have a long time to get over losing Eddie. Who am I kidding? There's not enough time in the world. How could you do this to me, Duffer Brothers? I trusted you!